All right. Hi, guys. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it because that's what the title already says. We are not adopting from Thailand. Whoa.
Sorry.
Yeah. So, okay.
First road bump in the adoption process.
Or first big road bump.
Yeah.
I guess it is the first road bump because everything else we've dealt with hasn't really necessarily been a road bump. It's just been like, it's difficult. There's a lot to this process. So the other day on Instagram, I posted that I was really bummed about something going on with the adoption. And even though I knew it was all gonna pan out, and I feel like it is all gonna pan out, I kind of had a little bit of a freak out. And I was going to, it's interesting because we had actually already filmed an adoption update like a week ago. And we filmed it and we were like, we don't really like it. We're gonna redo it. So we already had a bunch of stuff to update you guys on before this like drama already went down. So we are still adopting. We're just not adopting from Thailand anymore. So
you want to explain why?
I can't explain why. I just spit all over myself. So here's the situation. Recently, about 2 weeks ago, so the organization that we're adopting through is called Whole International, and they started following Dan and I on Instagram, and they actually messaged us on Instagram and were like, hey, we're coming to Nashville. We'd love to meet up with you to just talk, like the Instagram team. I think I just hit you in the face, sorry. So I'm like, cool, this is all really exciting. I tend to be like a big dreamer anyways, and it's like, I have this dream for like adoption advocacy, and I'm like, we're hooking up with our agency, like it's so exciting. Well, then the next day I get an email from someone else within Whole, and they're like, hey Nikki, we saw that you connected with the social media team, which is great, that's amazing. We just wanted to make sure you're aware of our social media policy. And I'm like, what social media policy? And I had no idea. I mean, to be honest, the way that I was going into this thing was kind of like my own version of common sense, which I say my own version because I know some people have expressed in the comments like, are you nervous that all of this sharing is going to mess with your adoption? So I have a different filter of like common sense, but
all of the sharing has the change that we're making now, we would have had to make this change much later in the process if they hadn't started following us from us sharing.
Oh yeah, it's like this is a good thing what we're telling you ultimately.
So we would have been in a lot deeper than
this change, the country change. So okay, so they say she sends me over a sheet, right? And I open up this sheet of all the policies and I'm reading it and I was like kind of confused. And so I sent her back an email. I'm like, is this basically just saying like not to share any information about our future child until they're officially ours? Because I didn't say this, but I'm like, that's what I deemed like common sense. Like when we get matched with a kid and we have the picture and the information, I wasn't planning on sharing that just because who knows, that kid may end up not being our kid and then they could be with someone else and we didn't want to like violate someone's privacy that isn't like our kid. That sounds weird, but you get what I'm saying. So I asked her that and she was like, well, yes, but also Thailand has its own law that's unique to it that after you pick up your child and they're your child, you are not allowed to talk about them or share any images, photos, videos, anything about them online for a year.
Yeah, and that,
so
I mean, Nikki's got a YouTube channel where we share a whole lot.
Wait, hold on. When that hit, we literally were like,
yeah,
what? Like we literally were like, wait, what? So we're like going around the house. We're like trying to figure out how this could work. Like hashtag baby blur face. Like what are we gonna do? Dan's like, maybe we could deal with that for a year. And we're talking about it and we're like, all right, let's pray about it. Let's sleep on it. And then let's see how we feel in the morning.
It's not just a rule that Thailand it's not just a rule that Thailand has, like, oh, you can't share anything or talk about your kid for a year. It's that the adoption is not finalized until a year later.
Yeah.
So, the kid's gonna be living in our house for a year, and it's that whole time not our kid. So
Yeah.
not okay with that either.
Yeah, so we slept on it. I told a couple of people in my life, like a couple close friends, my assistant Melissa, because she's like super logical, and she responded being like, dude, like what if there's an accident or something? And Holt actually said to us, like, you need to take this policy really seriously because you could mess up Holt's relationship with Thailand, and you could mess up future adoptions for families that are waiting in line in process with Thailand. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I almost Snapchatted while I was signing an NDA once. Like, I'm like, I'm gonna totally mess up, and then I'll ruin it for other families.
So there's so many reasons why.
So many. Well, and I called my family the next day, and both my parents separately, when I called them, were like, this is not what you are about. Like, you've been sharing your life for 7.5 years. It should be your decision what you want to share and not want to share. And they were like, this just doesn't.
And we want to share everything.
Well, that's not even necessarily true. We just want the right to be like, I mean, we don't know. Like, when our kid comes home, they might be dealing with a lot of trauma, and we might be like, just kidding, we're not going to be showing our kid very much for a while because we're dealing with all this stuff. Or we might be like, wow, this was such a crazy smooth transition, so much cute stuff is happening, we want to share left, right, and center. We just want the ability to do what we want to do without possibly causing harm or repercussions to other people and an entire organization for that matter. So, yeah, so we pulled out of the Thailand program, and wait, I want to finish that. Even, like, the country director with Holt actually spoke to the Thai government and was like, can you make an exception for them because, like, their whole lives are online in a really, like, basically it's their business in, like, a public way. And they were like, nope, no exceptions. And we were like, then so this is not where God has us.
And we can't, like, get away with anything.
Yeah, no. And if anyone was going to get in trouble, it was definitely going to be me. Like, I would be the one that wouldn't be able to get away with anything. So, and like I said, it mostly just makes me nervous, like, if I messed something up for other people. So, so we were on the phone with them, like, 2 days ago. Feel free.
Yesterday?
Oh, yeah, you're right. That was yesterday. We were on the phone with them, and that's when they told us that they had spoken to the Thai government and there's no exceptions being made. And so we're like, well, what do you recommend? And they start talking about other countries, and then they mentioned Korea. So Dan's face lit up when they mentioned Korea. He's all, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, there were other countries, but Korea excited me the most.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
It just hit you for some reason. Yeah, so he, like, lit up, and I don't really have a preference. I'm kind of just like, whatever. So we were like, sure, let's look at Korea. So when it comes to country situations right now, basically where we're at is we are applying for the Korea program. There's a chance we may not be accepted to Korea because they have certain standards. Oh, you were shaking your head at me. Oh, because you think we will get accepted.
Yeah.
I think we will get accepted too. I just have to lay this out there. There are certain standards that they have. None of this is secret. I've said this all before, so I don't feel weird reiterating this. You know, I see a counselor. I'm on a low-grade SSRI for pain management. So those things kind of have certain stigmas in Korea. So I have to get letters from doctors saying that my mental health is fine, that I'm using the SSRI for pain. And assuming they're like okay with that, then we should be able to enter into the Korea program. But the Korea program, I feel like that's gonna have to be a whole different video if we're accepted, because it's different than Thailand, and it's gonna mean an extra trip to Korea. We're gonna have to take 2 trips, and it's just a different ballgame.
The process is a little bit different. We get matched with a child way sooner. And then they give us pictures. What'd they say, monthly or bi-monthly?
I thought it was like every Monday. Or we get updates or something like that.
Updates every Monday, medical updates every month, and then pictures bi-monthly or something like that. So
yeah, like if we get accepted, we could be matched with a kid before Christmas.
Yeah, so there's like a lot more connection going on in the meantime. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then we go down to Korea the first time. And what is it, for 5 days?
Yeah.
We get to mingle with the kid.
Mingle with the
a few
kid.
different times, and then we go back home. and 5 to 6 weeks later, we go pick them up and take them home, and then they are ours.
Then they're ours. They're actually ours before we leave the
leave,
country.
so.
Yeah, I think it's just like China. They get sworn in like as a U.S. citizen, and then we're like, "Come on, little Uzuhan, let's go."
But same rule. There's no gender preference, and that means most likely we'll end up with a boy first.
Yeah, but it really is a crapshoot because in China, back when my parents adopted, pretty much everyone ended up with a girl, and my parents ended up with a healthy baby boy. So yeah, but we'll have to do a whole other video if we get accepted into that program, because the information he gave, it's so drastically different, and that's still the tip of the iceberg. Like, there's so much difference to that program.
And we just a few days ago we took our psych evaluation, so
yes,
it was like a 600 question exam and interview.
Hold on, so that's a good place. Let's segue into all of that, into all of the things that we've been doing for home study.
Okay.
Because that's a good segue. He was gonna say that if we're accepted into the Korea program, we have to do another psych evaluation.
Yeah.
Because they have a specific
We don't have to redo
test.
it. We just have to like add something else on top of it, which that might just be like. It's
yeah,
just
we don't know what
another
the test
questionnaire.
is,
So.
but it's another test that they specifically like to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then same with the physical.
Do you want to tell them about the psych test? Like, so yeah, it was like 6. Well, yeah, you want to tell them about
Just
it?
a ton of questions like.
We did 2 different tests, right?
Have you ever thought about killing yourself? Like.
Yeah.
Are you a happy person? 600 times. Like, just.
Yeah.
I can't repeat all the questions, but
because it was 600
some of
questions.
them.
Well, they were questions set up to try to spot out people with things like bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder. So you were supposed to pay really close attention to the wording of things, like I never get angry. No one never gets angry. So if you answer, yeah, I never get angry, then it's like they know, okay, there's something off there. So like it's a little interesting because you have to be really honest, and you have to really pay attention to the wording of the questions. And the first test,
I think I passed.
I think I passed too, baby. And the first test was on a spectrum, so it would be like not true, kind of true, mostly true, very true, and you would answer, and that was like 500-600 questions. And then the second test was only like 200 questions. And honestly, my brain can't even remember or differentiate between the two. I just remember the second test didn't have a spectrum of answers.
Yeah, it was agree or disagree. Like, should, let me see. Is spanking okay only if the child is lightly bruised?
Oh, that's right. The second test was about...
Agree or disagree with that?
That's right. The second test was to spot child abusers.
Yeah, should kids not talk back? Right.
Yeah, should kids be seen and not heard?
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So that test, was meant to spot child abusers. And the thing is that the test will vary from each psychiatrist.
Should kids be dirty? You're like,
yeah, exactly.
Well, if they like to play in them. One of the questions was, is a kid in a pile of mud a fun sight?
I said yes, I think.
Yeah. Like that's cute.
That's cute.
Right?
Yeah.
But should they go to bed dirty?
Yeah.
Disagree. So there was the test asks the same questions a few times a little bit differently. It's not
to just try
not
to find
to
your
trick
patterns.
you, but yeah.
Yeah, to find your pattern, or to trick you if you were trying to lie.
Yeah, I guess that's the point.
Yeah, but every psychiatrist, whatever, they'll have different types of tests. So when you go, for us, the only requirement was that they are a licensed, accredited or whatever psychiatrist or psychologist, but they could administer the test however they want, and then they have to write a letter and have all their credits. So this was the testing that she did. So
and we have to go back in for more blood tests.
We go back in and, like how I'm rubbing my...
Yeah, they stuck her in one arm and couldn't find the vein, so they had to...
Just switch arms. I'm not looking forward to that. That's in 10 days. So we have to go back, but we're hopefully going to be accepted into Korea and then get the requirements for that program before we go back in, so we don't have to go back in
Which is
again.
kind of funny because in the first video we talked about adoption, Nikki was saying, I really think this is going to go by really fast.
It still might.
I know, because Korea, just the way the program runs, has the potential to go very fast.
Yeah, depending on what goes down.
Some of the processes that could take 1 month or up to 6 months. So it's like, if it takes 1 month, obviously that cuts down a lot of time.
Yeah.
And then there's, other steps where there's that variable there, and things can move a lot faster. So
it's gonna be interesting to see
we'll
what the heck happens. Oh, little Ujohan. So we went in for blood work. We have to go back again though, because Thailand had such low standards for what they needed health-wise in the application, that we didn't realize this, but our home study standards actually trumped the international standards. So we want to hopefully get all of the Korea stuff into us if we're going to be accepted before we go back in, so we can just do that all at once as well.
You want to talk about some of the paperwork?
Yeah.
Down in the home study?
So this is our home study folder right now. Now it's very lucky, because now that we've switched country programs, we had actually not done anything for our dossier, which is the international country part. We had only been working on home study, which is great because it's thundering outside.
Which Korea has a unique thing with the dossier. It's a child-specific dossier, so
we don't even start that
matched
till we're
with the
matched.
child first, and then you do the dossier specific to that child. I just repeated myself.
Yeah, no, you were clear. So it's lucky that we hadn't started that, because all of this is still the same.
Yeah, and that would have also been money spent that ultimately would have been wasted, because you got to start over.
And we did lose.
Pay again.
We did lose some money, because you have to spend money for each country program. So we did lose money.
It's just the first step.
Yeah.
It may have been.
Close
May have
to
been
2.
900, it may have been 1800.
Yeah,
So,
we're having a hard time keeping track of where we've been dropping.
Not a small amount, but
it's
relative
not a
to the
car.
whole picture, it is a small amount.
Yeah, the process is expensive. So, okay, I'm just gonna start going through different papers. This is the first one that Dan did.
Yeah, this is like a financial statement. So they want to know your gross salary, your net salary, how much you got in savings, the real estate you've owned, the cost, your equity, your monthly payments. They want to know your life insurance policies, and then a breakdown of your monthly expenses: mortgage, utilities, phone, internet, cable, food, clothing, entertainment, automotive stuff.
Just everything.
What's this? Your assets, so your properties, vehicles, stock, bonds, retirement, savings accounts, and your loans, student loans. You don't have any student loans? That's great. So, yeah, they want to know everything.
Everything.
And
he's
sometimes
handling all of that.
It takes a little while to get all that information together.
Yeah, he's been handling all of that because he handles all of our finances anyways. There's a paper that has the list of the documents that they're going to need, so that you can check everything off as you're going through it all, make sure you have everything. We are in the process of writing autobiographies. It's nice because they give you an autobiographical outline that says, it just guides you through, like, your background information, description of your family, your relationships with your parents, education, work experience, friends and dating history, divorces if applicable, children, your present self. So it has to be they said it's going to be about 3 pages about yourself. So
and they don't want less than that, which it kind of seems hard to write less than that
and answer all those questions.
Yeah, but it does happen, and they usually just hand it back and say we need more. So
we're in the process of writing those. This is just an international adoption services plan and agreement, which is just a contract with the home study services, which we're using Catholic Charities.
And I do want to highlight something. I know a lot of people believe in spanking, and it says in the Bible, spare the rod, spoil the children.
Yeah, that's it.
Or the child. You're not allowed to spank. when you adopt a child.
Or at least that's the whole international, which, if I'm being honest, on a side note, not trying to make this a spanking video, but I'm like really excited about that because I never wanted to spank our kids. Because I remember being a little kid, and keep in mind, this isn't like ousting my parents. My parents probably spanked. They were probably like model spankers in the way that they would like sit me down, talk to me about what I did. But I remember thinking as a kid, you don't need to do this. Like, I get it. I don't want to be spanked. And so I actually never wanted to spank our kids. And so it just turns out with adoption, you're technically not allowed to do that.
I'll just say one thing. I was not a spoiled child.
What do you mean? Oh, because you were spanked.
I deserved every single one.
I did not, Mom and Dad. I did not deserve my spankings. So,
yeah, I know a lot of you may or may not have known that little fun fact, but it's something to think about because...
Just to know. There you go. So speaking of that, the next thing is a parenting questionnaire.
Wait.
Yeah?
Nope. Continue.
Okay. Parenting questionnaire. So this is a thing that you have to fill out a bunch of questions. Define how you see your role as a parent. Define how you see your spouse's role as a parent. Will it be different? Describe activities you envision doing with your child. What experiences, personal and professional, have you had with children? What discipline was used in your family? Do your views about discipline differ from your spouse? And on and on and on. And so you just have to write and answer those questions. Then there's an adoption questionnaire. Can I give this to you?
Yeah.
At what point did you begin considering adoption? Why are you considering adoption? What led you to the country that you are adopting from? And just on, what do you know about the culture? What are your fears about adoption? How do you plan on talking to your child about adoption? And on and on and on. Then there's a marriage questionnaire.
That won't be hard.
What?
They're going to look very different.
What?
From us.
Oh, you mean it's not going to be like a secret?
Yeah.
Describe how you met your spouse. How long did you date? What are the keys to success in your marriage? Describe the communication style of your marriage and how it could be improved. What do you argue about and how do you resolve arguments? And on and on and on. I think it's 4 pages. There's just doubles of things, the parenting thing. Oh, we each had to sign an abuse statement, which lets them know whether or not we had been victims to physical abuse, sexual abuse, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, domestic abuse, child abuse. Have you ever been arrested? Have you ever been the subject of an unfavorable home study? Have you ever been rejected or denied as a prospective adoptive parent? So you fill that out. An attachment theory like survey. I've already done mine, but I actually don't know if the results got saved. So I might have to do it again. It's basically just a test.
The link. You go to it and you take the little test.
Yeah, and it describes how and if you will attach to your child. And you bring the results to your home study, you print them out. So that's just double. That's just double. Oh, this is a pre-adoption education acknowledgement form. We're going to have to take parenting classes online.
Because it's less likely we'll be able to take the class in person. They recommend doing it in person, but they only hold because it's 8 hours.
Something like
8
that,
hours
I
or
think.
10 hours.
I think.
It might be 8 hours. But they only do a class if there's enough people enrolled.
Yeah.
And they do it like once every 6 months or something. So I'm not gonna wait around for that. So we might just. It's probably just like doing traffic school online, where you just click, watch video, answer test question, move on, and then take a quiz at the end or something. I'm just guessing, but I've done those types of things online before.
Traffic school.
Got my hunting license that way. That was really long.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Then we had to set up a FedEx account for all of the back and forth shipping of paper. This just has a list of all of the fees that we can expect to pay through home study. This is our confidential medical report. This is post-adoption services, which is actually something I am going to look at because I want to find like some.
There's groups, right?
Yeah, like play group, like support adoption groups.
The adoption agent for Korea. That was a close one.
That was a close one. I didn't like that one bit.
I love lightning and thunder. So she said that there is a lot of families in Nashville that adopted from Korea. So
Hey!
they're around here somewhere.
Yeah. So then we had to go get fingerprinted. We already did that for a background check. And that is all, that's it.
So, this is step 1 of the home study. She took a quick interview and then sent us home with this paperwork. So when we go back, we have to have everything filled out. So we can't go back and book that next appointment until we've got all those tests back and stuff. Then we have an interview together and then separate. And then there's an evaluation there. That's all the information I remember from that. And then the third home study meeting is them coming to our house and checking if we've got the fire extinguishers, which I bought from Costco. My guns are all locked up and stored safely. And just making sure that
it's like a clean, welcoming environment.
Making sure that there is going to be a room for the child to be living in, and which will be my office. I'll be moving my office into her office.
We're going to join forces in our office space.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for
I think
right
that
now.
is pretty much it. I feel like we did a really good job of just like really thoroughly updating them. I don't think there's anything else. So our battery's been flashing for a while now, so we're gonna go.
lucky.
It's also
Okay.
pouring rain outside, and we gotta go get food before I go to the airport because I'm going back to Detroit to get my brows microbladed. So you'll probably see me looking like Groucho Marx in some upcoming videos. But yeah, that's it. So exciting. A little bit scary for a minute this week, but mostly just exciting. It's all in God's hands.
Bye.
Bye, guys.